Colts at Steelers. And now heading into last week, a few weeks back, I was like, dang, this is going to be the best game of the week whenever they play, right? You have the Steelers. They're undefeated. You have the Colts, who are doing extremely well. And then you just kind of crumbled. It just absolutely crumbled into the dust. It did not go well, at all. At all. It was bad. I don't think the Steelers right now could beat anyone in the entire AFC. I don't think they could beat a squirrel in a jersey, let alone an actual football team. Because I want you, the Steelers fans, to look at me directly in the eye. Okay, obviously, you can't beat... Right now, if you're playing the way you are, you're not going to beat any playoff teams. You're telling me you think you can beat the Chiefs? Telling me you think you can beat the Titans, Colts, Browns, Bengals, Dolphins, Bills, Ravens. You tell me you think you can beat any of those teams? Because right now, the way you're playing, you can't beat any of them. Not a single one. Let's look at the teams that aren't going to be playoff eligible, right? Raiders aren't going to be. You think you can beat the Raiders right now? Even with Mariota, they beat you. You think you could beat the Patriots? Because you're wrong. You could not beat the Patriots. You wouldn't be able to beat Deshaun Watson and the Texans the way they're playing. You would not be able to beat the Chargers and Justin Herbert. I think I would take the Broncos and Drew Lock over you. It's bad. You're in a bad situation. Obviously, you proved last week that the Bengals were a better football team than you. And honestly, if the Jets, if they couldn't beat the Steelers couldn't beat a squirrel in a football jersey, the Jets and Jaguars might have a chance. You are playing horribly right now. The Colts, on the other hand, they're pretty good. They're pretty freaking good. You know what my favorite thing about the AFC is? And compared to the NFC. Let's compare the AFC and the NFC for a second. AFC, other than Phillip Rivers and Big Ben Roethlisberger, what's so fun about the AFC? You look at all the quarterbacks. They're all young. Look, you got Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. You have Josh Allen and the Bills. You have Tua Tagovailoa and the Dolphins. You have Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. You have Baker Mayfield and the Browns. Even Tannehill and the Titans, Tannehill's not an old quarterback. But on the other hand, you'll go to the NFC, it's like Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, Alex Smith, Tom Brady. 5 of those quarterbacks are really old. And then the younger quarterbacks are Jared Goff and Kyler Murray, obviously. But if you just look at where all the young quarterbacks are going, they're all going to the AFC. There's one young quarterback in the NFC. If you don't include Carson Wentz and Jared Goff and Dak Prescott, because I definitely don't. I guess technically Jalen Hurts is a young quarterback, but let's be honest. I don't think Jalen Hurts will be starting in Philly next year. It's just not going to happen. He does not have the arm strength of a quarterback in the NFL. Lamar Jackson worked, but Lamar Jackson's special. He is way more mobile. He's like a running back, but that can also throw the ball decently well. Jalen Hurts is a kind of mobile quarterback that can't throw the ball that well. It's not going to work in Philly. But honestly, perfect scenario, I think Wentz goes to Indy. I think he could be the successor to Phillip Rivers. I think he'd do very well in Indy with the Colts because when he was the best, he was with Reich. But the Colts right now are playing at a very high level of football. Phillip Rivers looking like one of the best. He's looking good. He looks like way better than a lot I thought he would look. I thought Phillip Rivers was washed. And at the beginning of the year, I was like, I'm right. But Phillip Rivers has looked better, in my opinion, than Tom Brady for most of the year. He's looked better, in my opinion, than Big Ben Roethlisberger for the past 2 weeks. And that's why I think I'm picking with the Colts. Listen, the fact is, the Steelers can't run the ball normally. The Colts have one of the best run defenses in the NFL. You're not going to be able to run the ball against them. And then you have the Colts. The Colts have such a great team. They have such a good team, in my opinion, because you have a great defense. You have a great run game. And you have a good quarterback. In my opinion, the Colts are the most complete team in the AFC. I don't think they'll win the AFC, but they're the most complete. If you look at the Chiefs, they don't have a great run game or a great defense. You look at the Bills, they have a pretty good defense and a pretty good throwing game, but they don't have a good ground game. Steelers don't have a great ground game. You have the Browns. They don't have a great passing game. You look at the Titans. They don't have a good defense. If you look at them, you want a good passing attack. You don't want a good rushing attack, and you want a good defense. That's the 3 things you want. Almost all the teams are missing 1 out of the 3 things, right? The Colts aren't. I think the Dolphins are also got all 3. I don't think they'll win the AFC again, but They have a good passing attack with Tua. They have a great rushing attack now that they have Gaskins back, and they have Breida, Gaskins, and Sullivan Ahmed, along with mixing in DeAndre Washington and Patrick Laird. And then they have a really great defense coached by Brian Flores. But the Colts are one of the most complete teams in the AFC right now, and as I get stated, I don't think the Steelers could beat a squirrel. So I don't believe in the Steelers here. They have to figure this out. But if you told me a few weeks back, I would have picked the Steelers. But if they had beaten the Bengals, I would have picked the Steelers. But they lost to the Bengals. Not the Bengals with Burrow. Not the Bengals, I would say, with Brandon Allen. But honestly, Ryan Finley's a better quarterback than Brandon Allen. I mean, I saw that. Why aren't you playing him over Brandon Allen, Zachary Taylor? But Colts are a better football team, like a way better football team than the Steelers. It's like not even close. Give me the Colts in a landslide over the Steelers.